Hello FPL managers and welcome back to another video from myself, Will, and fantasyfootballhub.co.uk. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the 9 most underpriced players in FPL. Stick around for the whole video because I do think some of the picks in here will surprise you. Let's get into it. Before we do jump into the main video, I wanted to give a cheeky plug for our sponsors, Ultimate Fan. I know loads of you are enjoying the platform already. If you've not come across it before, it's effectively a crossover between FIFA pack openings and fantasy football. So really interesting game format. They've also got some ridiculous prizes on offer. For the next round of Euros, they've got 20k in cash prizes to be won. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about how the game actually works. So I've got a base pack opening here. So you can register on Ultimate Fan completely free and you can get access to their base packs. And I'm going to explain a little bit more how it works. Wow, straight off the bat there, really nice card, Marcus Rashford. Obviously not starting at the moment, but he's obviously a great card to have for the future. Akanji there from Switzerland, not a terrible option. Bastoni there from Italy, not a bad card either. Next, we've got Stepanenko. I hope that he doesn't do well because he's obviously facing England. Sevic there as well, not bad. Skov as well. And you also get a team. So this is a nice, unique feature that they've got. You can add a team to your lineup. And if that team does well, you get points for that team performing well. Belgium is an absolute beast of a team, obviously one of the favourites. Absolutely delighted to get Belgium. So it's completely free to register and you can get those base packs also completely free. And you know, with some massive cash prizes, you might as well just go register and sign up and enter a team. You could do very, very well. I was actually speaking to the creators and a lot of the people who have won prizes have actually been those that have free subscriptions, but you can get gold packs which give you some more cards which you get on a fairly regular basis. So decent card there, although Germans have already been knocked out. Mason Mount, gold card. I think that he's got a good chance of starting the next game, so I'm pretty happy about that, and a great card going forward as well. Harry Maguire there as well, really nice card to have. England, of course, got a really good draw, so I'm pretty happy with those cards. Nice to get a couple of English players as well so I can support them along the way. So I've been playing this a couple of weeks now and I've also had some pack openings previously. You get one each round of games. So my final team then I've gone for Belgium, Christensen and Maguire at the back. Mount, who I hope is going to start. And I've also gone for a couple of Italian players in Verratti and Immobile there. So on balance, I'm pretty happy with that team. But if you are interested in checking out Ultimate Fan, as I said, completely free to get involved, to set up a team, to enter a team, and you could win some really, really big cash prizes. Obviously, you know, it is a gambling product, so be gambler aware and over 18s only. Okay, so the first player in the list probably won't surprise you too much. I've mentioned him in previous videos. I think that he has been criminally underpriced. Coming in at 6.5 million, of course, Rafinha. Bossing the stats last season, bossing the eye test, you know, a big goal threat, a big assist threat. As you can see here, he's played predominantly down the right, but if you switch over to his shot and his key passes map, he really does tend to get inside the box, creates a lot of opportunities, gets a lot of opportunities. And that's even shown, you know, over the back end of last season, he got a lot of goals, got a lot of expected goals, got a lot of assists, got a lot of expected assists. In terms of his fixtures and projected points, that's where it tends to get a little bit murky. You know, Manchester United away first game week is not the best. It does get a little bit easier then. Everton at home, Burnley away. So not terrible fixtures, but a little bit mixed certainly early doors. But coming in at 6.5, you know, comparing him to Bamford at 8 million, I wouldn't have been surprised to see Rafinha at 7.5 and Bamford at 8. I think that probably would have been a bit fairer, but I do think they've definitely underpriced Rafinha coming in at 6.5. Dallas is, of course, there at 5.5, but I just think that, you know, paying the extra million for the extra goal threat, the extra assist threat from Rafinha, I do think is probably worth it on balance. And yeah, I do think that he could potentially be a mainstay in our FPL teams throughout the season. Before we move on to my other picks, I want to say thank you to everyone who signed up to Fantasy Football Hub. We've got a ridiculous offer on at the moment, which is 30% off. It's our early bird discount. It's the best offer that we'll have all season. Link in the description if you're interested in that. You, of course, gain access to this player profiler and all of our other tools. So make sure to check it out if you are interested in becoming a Hub member. Another one of our hub tools is our powerful points projection tool. And I'm going to have a look at forwards here. And we've got a very nice feature here, which is value. And I'm going to have a look at the first 4 game weeks. So this is looking at the best value forwards over the first 4 game weeks. And as you can see there, Tony coming out on top, projected to score 18.8 points over the first 4 game weeks, which is he comes out the best value forward. So I do think that he's probably a little bit underpriced at 6.5. He did, of course, score 33 goals and 10 assists in the Championship, which is a ridiculous return. Obviously, you know, nobody is expecting to get anywhere near that in the Premier League. But, you know, coming in at 6.5 on penalties for a decent-looking Brentford team, I think that he's got to be an option. And I think that, you know, at 6.5, he's probably a little bit underpriced given his record in the Championship. Moving a little bit further down here, and I think this is a really interesting area. You know, the forwards bracket between sort of 6.5 and 8 million is, you know, there's loads and loads of good options. I'm certainly at least going to have 2 of these players. I don't actually know which ones I'm going to have at the moment. But I've highlighted Calvert-Lewin and Watkins in previous videos, who I think are great picks. I also want to highlight Antonio. He's going to be my 3rd underpriced pick here. I do think, you know, coming in at 7.5, the ability that he's got to score big FBL returns is, you know, better than any of the other forwards in this bracket. You've also obviously got to temper that with the fact that he is extremely injury prone, but if he can get a little bit of run of form, if he can stay injury-free, then he's going to make a mockery of the 7.5 million price tag. Staying on the forward for the time being, and I've sorted this table by expected points per start last season. So a really good metric that I like to use. Kane coming out on top, 6 expected points per start last season. Vardy second at 5.9. But the one I want to talk about here is Iheanacho. 5.8 expected points per start. 3rd on this list. And, you know, anyone who watched football towards the end of last season will know that this guy was on absolute fire. Coming in at 7.5, I think is a ridiculous price, especially when you compare him to Vardy coming in at 10.5. That's a whole 3 million cheaper. I think that he has definitely been underpriced. As you can see, towards the back end of last season, his goals were just through the roof. He got good expected numbers as well, and offers some assist threat. Admittedly, not as much as assist threat as some of the other forwards, but, you know, his goal threat was just huge going to the back end of last season. I think the big question with him and Leicester is whether they stick with the 2 up top. If they do stick with the 2 up top, then he's going to be fantastic value and going to be massively underpriced. Their fixtures early doors are not too bad, actually. You know, Wolves, West Ham and Norwich in the first 3 isn't a terrible start to the season. So I think on balance, Iheanacho coming in at 7.5 is definitely underpriced and could well find a way into my FPL team for the start of the season. Okay, we are going to come to some more budget defenders later in the video, but I did want to highlight Ruben Dias here. Coming in at 6 million, I think that he's definitely been underpriced. I think it would have been a fair reflection to see him at 6.5. I also think that Stones has been underpriced as well. I think that the Manchester City backline is just so solid. He offers some pretty decent goal threat. I know Stones is also a goal threat. But the key thing about Dias is that he's absolutely nailed on in that Manchester City backline. And you can't really say that about his teammates in the backline. You know, Stones, you would expect him to also start most of the matches. But, you know, with Laporte back, he could also get a little bit rotated. And certainly the fullbacks position, those guys could get rotated as well. So yeah, on balance, I think that Manchester City are going to get a lot of clean sheets this season. I think that Dias has a pretty good goal threat, and I do think that he has been a little bit underpriced. Okay, sticking with Manchester City is this guy, Phil Foden. I think that he has the potential to make an absolute mockery of his 8 million price tag. You know, comparing him to De Bruyne, comparing him to Sterling, way more expensive, those two. But I think that Foden has the ability to match those guys, if not outscore them this season. If you look at the trust that Pep gave him towards the back end of last season, if you look at the numbers that he was producing, if you looked at him playing matches, you would just see that he's absolutely electric. So I do think that he's on the cusp of a breakout season. So I was expecting him to come in around 8.5 to 9 million. Similar to Sterling, I thought that Sterling at 11 million, he was going to drop to, you know, around 10 million, and Foden was going to be around 9.5. I think that would have been a better pricing mechanism. I still probably would have fancied Foden just because, you know, he seemed to be actually preferred over Sterling. You know, I know Sterling's been performing great for England, but certainly in Pep's eyes, Foden almost seemed to be more important to that Manchester City machine. So for me, Foden, I think he's the prime pick from City, and I think that he has definitely been underpriced at 8 million. Okay, switching back to the points projections, and we're looking at the best value defenders over the first 4 game weeks. And as you can see, it's stacked by Brighton players, and that's because They had fantastic defensive numbers last season, very, very impressive. Very good expected goals conceded. And for me, Lamptey is absolutely the pick of the bunch there. Coming in at 4.5, he, to a certain extent, he flattered to deceive last season. He had a lot of good attacking numbers, and of course, he had a lot of injury problems, and he didn't quite deliver on those attacking numbers. But that does mean that he's been priced very, very kindly for the start of the season. Brighton have good fixtures. He's got good attacking threat, and if Brighton can, sign a decent forward who's actually able to convert some of his brilliant crosses, then I think that he could make an absolute mockery of that 4.5 million price tag. Along with Lamptey, there's a lot of good budget defensive options, and I am actually going to go into them in much greater detail in a later video. So if you are interested in that, then make sure you are subscribed. One of those options, and one that I wanted to highlight in this video, is actually Rob Holding. Now, he began to cement his place in Arsenal backline towards the back end of last season. He looks like he's pretty much got that spot nailed down, and he's got very impressive numbers. His points per game last season was 5. His expected points per game was 5.69 for a 4.5 million defender. That is ridiculously good. He probably doesn't offer quite as much attacking threat as somebody like Lamptey, but I do think that he's a really, really strong option. And Arsenal probably, probably slightly better defensively than Brighton. I would say that their early fixtures are a little bit mixed. Brentford is a nice opening, but then they've got Chelsea and Manchester City after that. So I think that Rob Holding is going to be a really strong option throughout the season, and I think that he has been underpriced at 4.5. I would have expected him to, come in probably at least 5 million. So 4.5, I think that he's a fantastic option and has been underpriced. Will I start the season with him? Maybe, if I can find a sort of a rotation pair to go with him. Somebody like Lamptey and Rob Holding, and another guy that they can, rotate in and out. Okay, I wanted to include a goalkeeper within this series, and honestly, I wasn't 100% sure which one to do. I think there are a lot of good options. The likes of Sanchez, the likes of Schmeichel, I think are very good options. I think that both of those are underpriced. I have opted for Dean Henderson in the end. I'm not 100% sure, and I don't think anyone really is, which Manchester United goalkeeper, whether it's going to be Henderson, whether it's going to be De Gea, is going to start the season. But I think whichever one of them does, and we're probably going to get an indication, a better indication anyway, in pre-season, and whichever one of those is looking likely to start, and I'm going to be, paying close attention to Solskjaer's comments, in the press conferences, if he gives any hints, then I think whichever one of those, whether it is Henderson, whether it is De Gea, I think are going to be, a great FPL pick. And both of them coming in at 5.0. I think whichever one of them nails down that spot, I think they're going to be underpriced. Okay, my ninth and final pick is probably a little bit of a controversial one, probably one that you wouldn't necessarily expect, but it's actually Mo Salah, the most expensive player in the game. I just think that at 12.5, given the fact that he's a proven FPL beast, given the fact that despite Liverpool having a pretty shocking season last time out, he's still absolutely bossed it in FPL. So for me, I think if you take into consideration all those facts, you take into consideration that Mane is only 12.0 million, how there's only 0.5 difference between Salah and Mane just makes, it makes it such an easy decision to go with Salah. If Mane should have really been priced at around 11 million, even 10.5 million, that would have made it an interesting debate. Or Salah should probably have been priced at least, 13.5, maybe even 14 million. If he was priced 14 million, then I would have something, to really think about. But at 12.5 million, I know he's the most expensive player in the game, but for me, he's definitely underpriced. So let me know in the comments what you think of that pick. Also, let me know in the comments players that I've missed out. There was a lot of players that I was considering mentioning in this video. The likes of Rafinha, I think, have also been underpriced. Another good 4.5 option. The likes of Jota, the likes of Buendia, all of those guys I think have been underpriced, and I could do a much longer list. But yeah, let me know if there's any other players that are out there which you think have been underpriced. It'd be really interesting to see that. If you did enjoy this video, then please do drop it a like and make sure to subscribe to the channel. It really does encourages me to do more of these, and we've got loads more FPL content planned for you. So yeah, please do subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.